What is up? Derek, 13 Series Engineering here, coming to you with another episode of our server-side rendered single-page app, DryDoc. Today we are going to be doing Kafka consumers, and this is going to be a little unique. There's just a few things I wanted to talk about first. The first thing is I think I might have been a little misleading in some of the comments or some of the things I said earlier, which it pertains to Kafka running on the client, running in a browser. That's not possible yet. Kafka needs a specific type of TCP to run, so you can run it like just server side basically anywhere, but it can't run in a web browser. WebSocket does use a type of TCP, but it's not the same, it's not the correct type of protocol. However, Confluent is actually, this came out March 2019, this article, but Kafka is working on, Apache Kafka this is 4 years old, so I don't know, I feel like this would have been added already and it hasn't been. Yeah, they've been trying some different things using Redux, state container for JS apps, blah blah. I didn't get too into this article because it's just something that's like not really you know, and then everything works. I think there was someplace in here. It's just like, it's not put together yet. They say they're hiring engineers to try and make this happen. Blah, blah, blah. But this basically isn't implemented anywhere. It's been 4 years. Hopefully it will come out like eventually, but I think probably some browser stuff is going to have to happen, and browsers will have to get on board with like supporting this, and a bunch of them would have to support this. But basically it just talks about how Kafka is so much better than WebSocket, which it is. But essentially this doesn't work in a browser. You can't just download Kafka.js and have it work in like a vanilla JS file or in some single page app, React, Angular, Vue.js, or anything like that. Basically, this just takes, it's just not there yet, but eventually it will be. So what we're going to do is the way you would do this, and is what we're going to do. We're going to spin up a node server. It's going to have WebSocket and Kafka.js, and essentially it will consume Kafka messages and it will distribute them to the browser via WebSocket. So we're kind of adding an extra middleman, but that's how you have to do things. The thing we can try and do is we can basically have every time a WebSocket client connects to it, it will send it some information, and the node server will make a new consumer that will connect to the broker group. And then that consumer it'll basically say where to read from, based off the user's last login or something like that. So each instance of a logged in user, an authenticated user, will have their own Kafka consumer, and we can do that with Node. We can keep spinning up consumers, like you have your own personal consumer for your account. So that's a cool thing to do. But this is hugely impractical for what we're doing. A lot of times you would want to do this like if you have more than one backend. If you have similar data that's coming from more than one backend and you kind of need to aggregate them together, GraphQL is great for that, but Kafka is a way to like do that with PubSub. You could have a GraphQL server things pull from, and Kafka PubSubs to that from different backends. I've done that professionally before, where we have a couple different backends, different databases, but it's all basically the same kind of shared data set, and data needs to be shared back and forth in a real-time way. Obviously GraphQL is like querying databases and doing API calls to different backends to get everything in like on page reloads, on data loads, but we need real-time updates, and so that's what Kafka's for. The other instance would be maybe you do have just one backend, but you have multiple front ends. You have more than one web app. There's an admin, there's some different type of web app that this data is used for. It's the same data, but just a totally different app. And then you have like Android and iOS apps and stuff. And basically in that instance, you would still do what we're going to do, and it's still kind of like redundant because we're adding something extra. If you look at turbo streams, you have backend, you have the Mercury hub, and then the stimulus controller that's auto-generated. So that's just three parts. Backend generates the WebSocket message, it goes through Mercury hub, and then the turbo stream stimulus controller consumes it. That's super easy to broadcast stuff. No problem. Um, but here we have a producer that goes to the Kafka broker. That's like our hub, and then the consumer receives it. Except the consumer is a node server, and that node server needs to distribute via WebSocket to other front-end clients. So we're adding an extra middleman. It's going to slow things down, but give us, more functionality. If we were going to do this on production, we would get rid of our Mercury hub, and we would just use the node WebSocket to do everything. I'm pretty sure there's a way to set up Doctrine message transports with a node server and do different things, or any server you want. It just has to route stuff for you. It doesn't really have to mess with it shouldn't have to mess with the message schema. They just come as data for the turbo streams. So basically, yeah, it's just data variables and the turbo streams are templates that get rendered by the front end. So that's all you're passing is the actual data structure. So we should be able to do that if we're going to do this on production, but we're not. It just doesn't make sense for what we're doing. So we're just doing this to demonstrate how Kafka works. Basically, we're rebuilding Atomic Kafka here, which is a dependency that, let's see, why is none of this loading? There we go. So basically, this server.js, that's our node server. So that's like the main hub that consumers are going to connect to the broker cluster with. Messages are going to come in, and then it would distribute them to all the front-end clients, with different, who knows, maybe some of them are in Android or something like that. If we had a mobile app developed or however we're going to do that. So we're kind of rebuilding this in a sense. We're making it more complicated. But, when we're done with this, it's just like kind of a demo. We are going to delete the broker cluster. We're going to tear everything down. We're going to we're going to get rid of libarty Kafka as a dependency. We're just going to nuke everything basically, and we're going to implement the same stuff just using a turbo stream, and that's going to be like 10 minutes of work to set that up using hub interface, just producing a message with a turbo stream template, and it's just getting rendered in as these notification things we're going to do. Basically here in our front end, I've built a notification alerts drawer, if you will. So there's that's where notifications are going to show up. This is just going to be for a part being created, but it would also be for parts being updated. Whatever, notifications you could imagine will just pop up in there. When you log in, there will be the notifications of everything that has happened since you've logged in. Probably that in our broker cluster, we've set things to expire after a week because it will be just you'll have hundreds of notifications you'll have to clear out. So or just log out and log back in. But that's not a great user experience. If we actually had a big platform here, we would want to do things differently. But with turbo streams, it's just going to be live data. We're not going to have that replay ability that you get with Kafka. Now, the one workaround you could build with that is you could have a database with all these event messages in them, and basically just replaying from that. That would be a pretty simple solution, but it will require a pretty large amount of storage. You essentially would want to go and hard delete alerts after a month or something like that. There's no utility for them after a while like that. An event log like that in this scenario, there's no point in having a longer event log. We're just printing out alerts so people can see them, and there's not even a huge utility to the alerts. It's just kind of a fun, full-fledged thing. So anyways, that's the plan. We'll do, maybe 1 or 2 videos here of how to set up, this whole node deal. And Atomic, Atomic Kafka is not a whole lot of code, and we're basically rebuilding it in an even lighter way. We're just going to start a new node project. I'm not even going to commit it. We're not going to have a repo. It's just going to be local. We're just going to serve it, connect to it. It'll have WebSocket. We'll set it up for WebSocket. We'll add Kafka.js to it to consume messages. Boom, boom, boom. It will be, pretty easy. This is like setting up a WebSocket thing in Node is like just crazy easy. Like a couple lines of code really. And that's really going to be what we're just going to hit that, and we're going to do some cool stuff, and then we'll probably do some fine tuning in another video about Kafka stuff, and then we'll just be done with it and get on to our the rest of the app, and round things out with TurboStream, and not have to worry about this with DevOps, because that's a big added cost is Node.js, and not big, but it is an added cost, and it makes your DevOps way more complicated for something that you're not really gaining anything from. But hey, that's okay. No big deal. So we're just going to go and make a new WebSocket project. Alright, we are going to go just make directory. We're going to call this Kafka Hub. Sure, that's fine. Or Kafka Node, maybe. Kafka Hub, I like that better. Cool. cd Kafka Hub. And then npm install WebSocket, just like the directions for this article. New major version available. Yeah, I guess I am running an old version of Node, but I think that's okay for this. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, we should be good. We're just going to try and do this in PHP Storm. Why not? It's fine for JavaScript. It's made for web dev. If we have issues, we'll just do it in Visual Studio, I guess. Why not? But I don't even know if I have Visual Studio on this computer. And I would need to really install a bunch of plugins and stuff, because JavaScript will look icky. Yes, this is what we have, blah, blah, blah. Everything's good. And now we need our index.js file. New file, index. I'm not really a Node guy. I've done a few, like I've built Puppeteer crawlers and some other stuff with it. We can just copy all this. Let's open a new terminal. Or let's just do it in here. Cool. That's on port 8080. That's fine. You're not happy. It is listed there. Oh, because there's no package.json file. That's weird. That didn't get created. We're gonna need that. Maybe they have one here I can just copy, because I'm lazy. Doesn't look like it, but it is installed. It's just not in here. Maybe this will just auto-generate it if I... Yeah, there we go. Cool. Okay. I think that's all we need. Let's just do npm install. No description, no repository, no license. Don't care about that. This is just a fast and dirty thing. I wonder if that on connection is going to give us issues, but I guess it is. type to module and package.json. Use the MJS extension. Cool, okay. We're not going to use Postman for this. We're just going to code this out. Site can't be reached. It's not happy. Maybe this is not exposed or something. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to worry about WebSocket stuff later. And we're just going to install Kafka.js. And I'm going to need to log into Confluent and get a bunch of stuff like Bootstrap servers, broker stuff, all this. And then import, okay, Kafka from Kafka.js. And now when we get this connection hook, we're going to want to spin up a new consumer for Kafka.js. And that's just going to handle, you know, the messages, and it's just going to transport, you know, those, it's just going to distribute those messages. Basically, that's it. And we're just going to use send for that. We're not going to actually be receiving anything into this WebSocket. It's just for distribution. So no data comes back up here. So we'll just comment that out for now and delete it later. Oh, I'll just delete it. There's no reason to do that. New client connected. Cool. Blah, blah, blah. I installed Kafka.js. We have Kafka here. Alright, now the docs are going to tell you how to set everything up. I remember going through this before. Configuration. I'm pretty sure that's what we need because it tells you how to do PSASL. Okay, all of this. And like I've said in my previous video, I'm going to clear out all the API keys I'm going to make and all the stuff for this. Client ID. You know what? We are actually going to have to send a message because I want dry.client and then the username. I wonder if you can have an email or if it's going to freak out about that. That's the first thing we're going to do when we connect is we're going to send a message to this, and in this callback is where we are going to do everything. We're going to set this up. Yes, okay, this stuff's fine. Consuming messages. Kafka.consumer, creating the consumer. Okay, cool. We just basically have to code this out. So let's set all this stuff up first. Actually, I want to have this outside of this. This is async because it's waiting for that event. Yeah. Equal that. We're going to delete this eventually, and we just need to declare this. We need a new instance of this every time, so this has to be in the connection. Just going to have. We should probably make it. Just set it to null. Plus data. Man, I just want to write PHP syntax all the time. It's going to be like data dot email. I guess we're just gonna send a JSON object like that. We'll probably want that in there too. Function message. That's our data. Cool. Okay. I think, alright, when we create the consumer is when it's going to do read from unresolved variable. Yeah, we don't know what's in there yet, but we'll just see what happens. We'll see what comes out of this. We'll add a unique ID to that later. Okay, brokers. So now, super easy. I was doing this before. I just have to find it again. Oh, there's a thing about free. 27 days left for my free trial. Just need to find the docs for this. There was some place, and when we connect to this, it just should reread all of our messages, which will be awesome. So basically, this is all going to kind of be tested in Node first, and then it'll be distributed to Stimulus. We might just want to do this outside of just when it spins up, we'll just have it connect. We'll code it in here, we'll copy paste it and test it just on server start. And I'm all over the place. Where am I going? Interactive demo. Is that it? Or was it in here someplace? I think in here. Stream designer, topics maybe? No. Wouldn't be in topic config, connectors. Oh, I bet it's in clients because it's, yeah, there we go. Okay. Node. All right. Cool. Then we're going to have all of this stuff. Create new node, delete stuff. I know you can see my API keys. I'm going to delete them very shortly. Cool. And I actually don't remember node config file. I definitely don't remember how to do this. It's been probably 2 or 3 years since I've written a node project. And this isn't ES6, is it? Yeah, we probably want express and config as well. I don't know. Well, I guess we probably don't need it for this. Maybe we will. When we run Kafka, it's going to freak out because we don't have express. I don't know. install config, and I think this will just add it, and then right, you have your config stuff, and you're like config dot whatever. Is that what they're printing out here? Yeah, config dot get. Right, okay. That did not add it, but that's okay. Config default.json. Don't need these anymore. I bet this is fun for everyone to watch me struggle through this. This isn't really a great example because I don't think it's ES6, right? Install config, we did that. Config default JSON, yeah, that's good. They're still saying to do this. Okay. Cool. So we should be good with that because it's just going to read the default one. We just need to build out our JSON structure, which is here. Bootstrap.servers. Really, this is all just a it's just going to get passed in as parameters. It's such an annoying way to do this. It really is. Ugh. I don't want to hard code it, but Bootstrap servers. See, this is what the value is in like when you set your config stuff for Kafka.js. So we just have to write all this out. Session timeout, we do actually want that. Okay. Just gonna replace all these. Should probably be using macros, but whatever. I think this session timeout needs to be a string as well, because it's always like that. You always pass strings to Kafka config, and Kafka.js might just be different, but I don't think so. It's always strings. Cool, okay. I guess I could just keep it like that. Why not? If it's not going to complain. Cool, we should be good with that. Config get Kafka, sure. There we go. Alright, now when we go and connect, we just go config get Kafka dot just want to make sure it's actually how they're using it. Yeah. Kind of break it down more in whatever. Let Kafka config equals config get Kafka, and then we'll just go Kafka config dot bootstrap servers. That's our broker list. We probably need get for this. Is that right? Let's look again. Haha, man. How many times am I going to close this? That's our db config. I think it comes out of this in like an array. Having a hard time figuring that out, I guess. We'll actually just be like, whatever. We'll just do this. Keep it simple. Okay, bootstrap servers. We probably want to not have SSL. That should be false. But that's what it's got out of the box. Let's see what the Kafka docs say. I think it's just like literally converting all of these. Read config file. This is like a bad way to do this. I don't know why this is in their docs, but read config file client properties. That's for a producer. Group ID, new group. That's basically, and I don't know, yeah, node.rd Kafka. That's a different, it's not Kafka.js. So I think we're fine with all this. Okay. Username. Password. We should have everything we need to connect now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this up here. So on initialization, we're going to delete this in a minute, but we just want to make sure we can connect and then read through the topics we produced a few days ago. Group ID. I think that is group doesn't matter. It's kind of agnostic. It does matter, but we're not going to worry about that now. Consumer connect, subscribe to where did I put this whole test script? Oh, I put it in the wrong place. That would be an issue. There we go. Okay. Cool. From beginning, true. and this is part created, right? Topics. Part underscore created, okay. Part created, and then on subscribe we want to do something. So each message each batch of messages, we are going to get a batch at first. But just to keep it simple, we'll do this implementation and see what we get out for data. Okay, let's see if we can connect. Right. Import star, I guess, from this is so annoying. I'm just bad at Node, so that always makes things annoying. Probably need to upgrade. Well, it doesn't like this, so let's try this. ES6 import JSON file. It's so weird it doesn't like this. Import all as data from import all. Yeah, I just got my syntax wrong. All is config from I don't know what's up with this. Oh. Property is not defined. Kafka.bootstrap servers is not defined. Okay, I think this is actually good. It's just the dot properties thing, which Kafka.js calls everything, is not obviously good. So we're not even using some of this stuff yet, but oh, that's okay. I think everything's getting read in properly. So we just need to fix this up, and should be good. Cool, okay. There we go. Alright, so it looks like info, starting group, test group, consumer group has joined the group, member ID, dry.client with a hash, blah blah blah. Leader ID, that's what consumer is, a leader. Part created, broker cluster, round robin, cool. Alright, so it looks like we are connecting, but we have an error. Each message, topic, part create, and partition 1, cannot read property. ToString of null. Why don't we just console log message? Because some of this stuff was strings, some of it was JSON objects. So we are going to want to go and probably change a few things, or at least just try catch it. There we go. Hey, cool. Okay, so this is the whole message we have coming through. I think these are, yeah, all the messages that we sent. Timestamps. Blah, blah, blah. So now this is connected, and batch context value. Okay, let's see if we get another message to pop out. We're going to do new window, dry doc, and then Symfony console app Kafka test, is that it? Oh, it's just Kafka, I guess. Hey, there we go. We got a new message. Offset 6, offset 5, offset 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So offset is like our message ID. Alright. And I don't remember, I think we're just passing like a test string, but this is connected. It's producing and consuming messages, so that's awesome. Here we go. So all this stuff is working. Message.key, message.value.toString. I think that this is not going to work. We just want to try I think it's rereading everything right now. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, really taking its time. Maybe because it already read everything and it's like cached. Let's send another message, see if it pops up. There we go. Just took a while to connect for some reason. There's config stuff we probably need to clear out of here. But this consumer, because it's on such and such group ID, I don't think it's going to reread anything, because we've already read. You know, it's saying from the beginning of where it's funny we have a null key in here. That's going to have to get fixed. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is our JSON message that comes through. So there we go. It's printing out in the console. That's awesome. That's the one we keep creating. So I need to look up a config for from beginning true. Consuming messages, auto commit. Okay, doesn't like these, but that's all right. Partition aware, concurrency. Committing offsets periodically, right? Manually committing. We're not so worried about that right now. We use the latest commit offset when starting to fetch messages. What I really want to do is reset the offset to like a date time. Session timeout. Earliest offset. How do I set the offset to 0 or replaying? I think that's actually what we want. Okay, so we're seeking for an offset. We have a bunch of partitions though. I wonder if I can just leave that out. Cool. Well, alright, basically we got this set up. I'm going to try to keep this video shorter. I'm going to end it here, and then we're going to come back next time, and we're going to take all this stuff, we're going to put it into our WebSocket connection, we're going to hook up WebSocket, and we're just going to console log messages out into our stimulus controller, and then we can print them into that alerts box that we have. And then we can work on actually passing in a rendered template, and that's all we're going to have to do. So might break that up into 2 videos, might just do 1. But basically, this Kafka connection on WebSocket Connect, we're just going to set all this stuff. That's not going to be happy because it's not async. Now it will be. And this is a new instance. Well, that's the thing. Because I'm going to attach someone's username to this, it'll kind of just pick up where you left off from an offset ID. But we're going to mess with playing with offsets a little bit here. We could probably just do a bunch of different videos on like different Kafka config and stuff if we want to. This might be something we just revisit later. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I actually want to not have this in here. That's a bad idea. We just, on WebSocket connection, it initializes all this. It sets up a new instance of Kafka. Well, anyways, we'll get to this all next time. We'll get this all ironed out. We'll make sure we'll have 2 different accounts logging in, getting different messages. We'll do all that stuff later. But I'll catch you guys next time.